CLO4.2, finding the unknown in the simple interest formula. Okay, if you watched my previous video, you will remember I gave you this formula for simple interest, I equals PRT. In this lesson, we are going to be looking at problems where you are given the interest that was earned, given I, and you'll know that in the word problems because it will say the word earned. And that tells you they're giving you the number for interest. And then one of these values, either P or R or T, is missing, is unknown, and you're trying to find it. So we'll do some examples like that in the coming slides. And just one more thing to remember, the letter P stands for principal, which is the starting amount, the amount that you borrowed or the amount that you deposited. R is the interest rate, and T is the time, always measured in years. And of course, I is interest. So before we get started, if you are given the interest in a word problem and you're trying to work backwards and find what was the P, what was the starting amount, or what was the rate, or what was the amount of time, I would like you to take this equation I equals PRT and write it in this triangle. That way, if you have the P missing and you want to find what is the principal, how much was invested, you just do I divided by RT. Whereas if you have the R missing, you just do this equation, R equals I divided by PT. And lastly, if the T is missing, you just do I divided by PR. But one thing to remember, T is always in years. So whatever answer you get will be years. If you would like the answer in months, you can do T times 12 to get your answer in months. Or if you would like the answer in days, you can do the T in years times 365, and you would get the answer in days. We'll do some examples and it will make more sense. Okay, let's read this first question. It says, determine the quantity of money that must be invested. That's the starting amount. We don't know the starting amount for 280 days. So that's time equals, now we can't just say 280, that would mean years. So we say 280 over 365. The rate is 6%, 0.06, and it's going to earn 120. So just remember, when you see that word earn, that tells you it's giving you the amount of interest. So we earned 120 dirhams in interest. So this is a case where they gave us the interest amount, and we have to work backwards and figure out what was the starting amount, what was the principal. So since the P is missing, we will use this equation, P equals I divided by RT. Let me write that here. P equals I divided by RT. Now it's just a plug and chug question. The I is 120. The R is 0.06. The time is 280 days over 365. And we will get that the principal, the starting amount invested was 2607.14 if I round to 2 decimal places, and this is dirhams. Okay, let's look at the next example. Determine the quantity of money that must be invested. Again, that's the starting amount we need to determine. And it says time is 5 months. Again, I cannot put 5. That would mean 5 years. So 5 months is 5 divided by 12. Rate is 6% again. And it's going to earn 5,000. That's the interest. The interest earned is 5,000. So again, we will use this equation P equals I over RT, and we will plug in these new numbers, 5,000 divided by 0.06 times 5 over 12, and we will get the principal, the starting investment should have been, must have been 200,000 dirhams. Okay, let's look at these next set of questions. This one says find the annual rate of interest. So this time the R is missing, and they're saying 4,560 will earn 250. So the starting amount is 4,560. Remember, this word earn tells you that's the interest. The interest was 250. The time is 14 months. So we can't say 14 because that would mean 14 years. So we'll say 14 over 12 since it's months. When the R is missing, draw the triangle. Interest equals PRT. If the R is missing, we have this equation that the R is I over PT. So let's plug and chug into this equation. Okay, in this case we have 250 divided by 4560 times 14 over 12. And if I round, I'll get a decimal 0.047, which if we want to change that into a percent, we just multiply by 100 or move the decimal place 2 places to the right, and you get that the rate is 4.7%. Let's look at the next one. Again, find the annual rate of interest, so the R is missing. 8,000 is going to earn 1,600, so the starting amount was 8,000. It earns interest of 1,600. The time is 300 days, and since they said days, we say 300 divide by 365 days in a year, and we will plug into this formula, R equals I over PT, in which case we have 1,600 divided by 8,000 times 300 over 365, and you will get the R is 0.24333, which is, if we change that to a percent, 24.3%. Okay, let's look at this last set of examples. Find the number of years. So we're trying to find T, and 7450 will earn 1788. So the starting amount is 7450. The interest earned would be 1788, and the rate is 8%, 0.08. So again, if T is missing, we are going to make this triangle. Interest equals PRT, and in this case the T is missing, so we can see that the equation is I over PR. Just remember though that this will always give you the answer in years. If later they ask for the answer in months, T in years, you would multiply by 12 to get months. Okay, T in years, if they ask for days, you'll multiply by 365 to get days. Now in this, they just asked for years, so we'll be just fine the way it is. We'll use this equation, T equals I over PR. Okay, so we plug in and we say 1788 divided by 7450 times 0.08. That's going to give us a T equal to 3 years. And they asked for years, so we're finished. Let's look at the next. It says determine the number of months. Well, we have to start out and just find T in years. Then later we can change it to months. So first we'll start out and find T in years. They're saying the deposit is $26,400. That's your P, $26,400. And it earns $517, so that's your interest. Interest is $517. And the rate is 11.75%, 0.1175. So again, we plug everything into this formula, T equals I over PR. So we will get 517 divided by 26,400 times 0.1175, you end up getting t equals 0.17 years. But we don't want years, we want months. So we'll multiply by 12, and we end up getting that t equals 2 months. Okay, so just be careful. That looks kind of funny, 0.17 years. Let me write that better. 0.17 years. Just be careful. If they ask for months, you have to multiply by 12 months in a year at the end. I think the same thing, similar thing will happen in this next example. How many days are needed? Again, we first have to find time in years, then later at the end we can convert it to days. But it says 6,000, the starting amount 6,000 is going to earn interest of 276.16, and the rate is 0.105 per annum, which means just per year. Again, we use the same equation. Time in years is I over PR. We will plug and chug. The I is 276.16. The P is 6,000. And the R is 0.105. So initially we'll get a time equal to 0.438 years. But they did not ask for years. They asked for days. So we will multiply by 365 days in a year. And so we will end up getting t equals, if we were to round to the nearest whole number, 160 days. Okay, good luck.